morning Year 5 and welcome to our week on triangles. So for today's lesson we're going to do a little bit of a recap lesson on some understanding and some vocabulary of words that we met in Year 4 or Year 3, just to make sure that we understand them before we carry on thinking about how they apply to triangles. So I have got here some mathematical vocabulary and some definitions. If you would like to pause your video, you could have a go at matching them up and then I will go through the correct answers. Okay, so let's have a look then. So some of them I think probably were easier than others and I like to group them together. So I'm going to start with horizontal and vertical. Okay, so horizontal and vertical describe straight lines and the difficulty is remembering which one's which. So I do it by remembering the horizon going like that. So horizontal is a line that goes from left to right or right to left, and vertical is a line that runs up and down from top to bottom, bottom to top. Okay, I'll show you a little mnemonic picture in a minute to help jog your memory. Okay, then let's have a look at parallel lines and perpendicular lines. Okay, so parallel lines are like a railway track. Again, I've got a picture I'll show you in a minute to remind you. They're straight lines that always stay the same distance from each other and never meet. And perpendicular lines are two straight lines that meet to make a right angle. Again, we'll recap on that in just a second. Okay, so that brings us on to right angle nicely then. So a right angle is an angle that is 90 degrees, okay? And it is here, also known as a quarter turn, because it's a quarter of a full turn or 360 degrees. Other types of angle, actually we should probably do angle next, right? An angle is the measurement of turn between two straight lines. It's about a turn. I've got here, we might use this a bit today, so this is my homemade angle measurer. I've cut two strips of cereal box. I've made a hole at the end and I had to sort of fashion a paper fastener out of a bent paper clip there. You might be more creative than me, just so we can have a go look at measuring angle. So angle is about the amount of turn between the two lines. A vertex is a corner of a 2D shape, or the points where the edges in a 3D shape meet. Degrees is what we measure angles in, I already mentioned that. And then we've got these two, acute and obtuse. So an acute angle, and I always think acute is little and cute is less than 90, less than a right angle. An obtuse angle is between 90 and 180. So those are the correct answers. A couple of things here just to remind us. So the way I like to remember it, parallel here is two lines that never meet. Perpendicular, meet at right angles. You've got horizontal, like the sunset and the horizon, and vertical coming down. And then here's a few examples of angles. You've got an acute angle, which is anything from here. So the angle is between these two straight lines here. Anything up to a right angle, which is 90 degrees. Then it turns into an obtuse angle, all the way to a straight line at 180 degrees. Okay, a little bit more about parallel and perpendicular. Here's some examples. I'm just going to get rid of those definitions underneath. Here's some examples of parallel lines, because I wanted to show you that parallel lines don't always sit like this. They could be, one might be bigger than another. They might not be anywhere near each other. But if we continue with any of these lines, just going to use this one as an example, if I continue that line on, it does become parallel. So these two lines are parallel because if I continue them, they are parallel lines. The line goes on forever, so it's about thinking about where it might be. Okay, so that's parallel. And perpendicular, lines that meet to make a right angle. Well, it might meet like this one to make one right angle. Maybe it does it like this and makes two. Or maybe it makes four right angles. Or maybe the lines aren't even touching. But actually, if we do touch them together, they create a right angle like that. Okay? Little bit more about angles. You can make an angle measure. You could also use the corner of a normal piece of paper if you want to. Remember, when you're measuring an angle, you need to think about the bit inside the two lines here. So this angle, let's do an example. This angle here is an acute angle. It's less than 90. This would be a right angle, whoops, 90 degrees. And then this one, whoops, would be an obtuse angle. Okay, and we always label to say the part of the term we're looking at. And if you're measuring an angle, you're thinking about how far apart the two lines in your angle are if you were having to turn them. So if you want to make yourself an angle measure, that might be helpful for today's task. You don't have to. Today's task is just making sure that you know how to use those words, parallel, perpendicular, and the different types of angle, ready for us to move on to looking at triangles tomorrow.